Talking sports with Nooner and Forrest back after a long hiatus. Hopefully, you didn't forget about us. We have definitely not forgotten about the show or anything like that. We're just super busy, and
Yeah.
it is the summertime, and there's not a whole lot going on, but we're still here anyways. Brad, how are we doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. Like you say, busy summer for you especially, but also for me. I didn't realize how much baseball goes on outside of travel ball. Of course, we've done a few travel ball tournaments as well, but I've done a few high school scrimmages, including two scrimmages involving the 2A state champions Washita Warriors. Uh, so I've done two scrimmages involved them, and of course I've done some adult league baseball, which I didn't even know there was such thing until was was asked to do a ball game one night. So and so, but yeah, very busy for me. But you've especially been very busy, Ricky. So want to tell us all about it?
So yes, I did announce this on ATFS, but I know that our platform that we have here, not everybody watches ATFS. So I have accepted a job at Whitehall Middle School. I will be teaching middle school math, and I will be the head coach of the seventh and eighth grade boys basketball teams. Yes, they do separate their seventh, eighth, and ninth graders. Um, and so I'm looking forward to this next chapter. My last day with Pepsi is July 19th.
Hmm.
And so and I've also been enrolled in grad school, and this is a process that basically started around spring break, and I'm not going to go into great details about that. But when God opens doors, you just take it, and so it just I have been at peace about this decision, and I was really at peace last week because last week I was off, and we had
Hmm.
3 days worth of kids camp, and
There you go.
I enjoyed myself. I really did. I really enjoyed myself. Had a lot of laughs. Had a lot of good moment with the young ones, and so it's just good to be back. I've already met my teams. I've already practiced with them a few times. I'm going to practice with them more in the upcoming weeks. And so, and then July, I'd say the July 19th on a Friday, July 22nd, I'll fully be invested in the Whitehall School District. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so in July around that time too, the dead period will end for triple
The
A.
the dead period started this week. The dead period will
Right,
end at the
right.
end of next week. So yeah, July, it goes through next Saturday, July the 6th.
Okay.
And then that Monday we'll be able to start practicing and open up
Yeah,
facilities again and stuff.
right. And so but yeah, so your summer this summer sounds like my summer last summer where doors were closed and switching jobs. Of course, the only difference between me and you is I actually switched cities and you got to stay in the same city, which that's
Yep.
pretty good for y'all. And so that sort of thing too. And of course, it's been busy on my end. I'll share this. My mother unfortunately has been battling cancer again. She's been diagnosed with stage 3B sarcoma. I can't even say it right now. Carson squad. Yeah, there you go. Whatever Emily said. But it's stage 3B. So she'll start treatments soon on that. So I would ask everybody for your prayers, especially for that. And as men of faith, I know we believe in a God that can heal. Also, too, I know you were going to mention this on the show, but also our condolences goes to the victims at Fordyce
Hmm.
as well. Very tragic situation there. A few years ago, Ricky, I got to travel through Fordyce. That's the only time I've really traveled through there. To be honest, I was going from Texarkana to Star City. Uh, and what was funny about the trip was I was going to a meeting where they showed us where they buried all the bodies that was unclaimed to the Arkansas Department of Corrections. Uh, that's the yeah,
They
yes.
actually do that?
Yes. So if you have a loved one, so let's say that you died in prison and your body goes unclaimed, no family member claims your body, you're buried at a cemetery in an unmarked grave in Star City, Arkansas.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we had a meeting.
I did not know
Uh,
that. I did not know
yeah.
there was a I'm about to find it now. You're telling me where it's at. I'm like, where in the world is this thing?
I have to remember where it was, but yeah, it was a few years back, and that's the only time I've been through Fordyce, to be actually honest with you. But we definitely want to remember them in our prayers as well, and the first responders and all those. On It's a very tight community. It's
Mhm.
only 3,300 people, small town, and just want to remember those folks down there as well.
Yeah, and I go through Fordyce all the time. I went through Fordyce today and yesterday. We especially with Pepsi, Fordyce is part of our territory in the Monticello territory, and so
Mm.
I live about 45 minutes away from Fordyce. And so this one hits home. I mean, it really does because Mad Butcher's been a customer of mine that I've had to deal with in the past 3 years. Um, they have, like you said, though, they're a tight community. One of my employees, I'm not going to mention their names, but one of my employees' girlfriends and her mother were both there during the shooting. They both ran out the back. They're safe. There's not that they there was no harm done to them. Um, and the sad part about it is that you had 4 deaths.
Yeah.
Three of them were women. One was a man. From my understanding, the man was trying to protect others from getting shot. From my understanding, he got shot in the chest with a shotgun, and he was able to drive him. He drove himself to the emergency room, and he died there at the emergency room.
Wow.
Um, you have a young lady who was, I think she was 23 years old,
Yep.
had a
Yeah.
10-month-old child,
Mhm.
had one who was in her 80s, had one who was in her 50s,
Yep.
and everybody in Fordyce, like everybody's coming together though. Like that's the thing with them is that they're coming together. It's just a tragic event to come together for though.
Yeah.
It's just for years for years we have heard people cry out about gun control. We've heard people cry out that there's just not enough there's just not enough going on out there for gun control. But people, this is a situation. The guy who did this had no priors whatsoever.
No
No,
price, no.
this is a random act of violence. It was senseless. And I don't know exactly what the answer. I don't know exactly what the answer is per se for this. I don't know. I don't know that answer. I will let whoever else, someone who is smarter than me, someone who is a much higher pay grade than I am, determine that. But it just hits home though. I mean, especially when even though I personally don't have anyone involved, they're still those are people who come in the store and they buy my product. They
Yeah.
buy other products. They shop there at that store, and it hits home. It really does. It's a very very sad situation.
Yeah.
And like I said, thoughts and prayers out to the families. And the one thing that we also have to remember, and I know this may be hard for some of us, but there's a reason that Jesus said, "Love your enemies,"
Yeah.
because this man who committed this act of violence, his family is now taking heat for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not fair. I will sit here and straightforward say that's not fair.
No,
They
it's
didn't
not.
commit the crime, he did.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, even though it's hard to pray for our enemies like we are supposed to, we just got to pray for this entire situation.
Absolutely.
And
Uh,
the outcome of this whole entire thing, take this senseless tragedy and we find a way to get something good out of it, and we give God the glory for it. That's all you can do.
Amen, and I 100% agree with that, and, we gotta take politics out of the situation with something like
Absolutely.
this. And, of course, Ricky, I as a pastor, I get asked all the time, why does why the common question is, why does God allow evil? My answer is always this: it was never God's intention for evil to exist.
Mm-mm.
Unfortunately, we live in a fallen world, and unfortunately, in my personal belief, and I know this is not a religious show, and this is not a show that we talk religion very much, or
Albeit me and you have this platform, we can be as religious as we
well,
want to.
yeah, I know we can, but but I just want to say we believe that we rebelled against God, and because of that, there's been consequences, and this sinful nature in all of us exists, especially in the flesh. And this man here, uh, we don't know. There's really not a motive. He's a very educated man. He had his own business. He was very well. It seemed like he was a well-to-do guy, but unfortunately, something just snapped in him. I imagine he probably has some mental health problems. I
Probably
would
so.
probably so, something like that. And but I can't speculate that because I'm not a professional, obviously. But we all do know. But we do know this, that we're all simple, and we can't explain why we do things that we do, but except for like you say, we need to pray for this man. We need to now pray for his family, especially because they don't deserve to take the heat for that. And especially, and of course, we need to pray for the victims and their families too.
Yep.
And that God will bring peace and healing in all of this, and that everybody would grow closer to him, that would grow closer to God. And if you don't know Christ as your Savior, now let's make that commitment as well today as too. That's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Justice is going to be served one way or another. Um, but we'll just let the justice system play it out and we'll see how it goes. I am sure we're going to hear more about this from much later. And I do know from my understanding, they're not going to open the store the entire week. I don't, they do not currently have plans on when they're going to reopen um, the store. But it just, like I said, just it's a senseless tragedy. And we just got to, I'm at a loss for words just because it's
Yeah,
so close to home, and it's a
yeah.
store that I've been into. It's a store that I've been into a handful of times. But, um, anyways, so let's go ahead and we'll move on to the sports world. And so get on with the sports world. Brad, this was not on the list that we had, but it's something that I think we could definitely worth discuss. Um, so it has been reported that ESPN has offered Stephen A. Smith a new contract. His
Hmm.
current contract expires next year, 2025. I don't know
Right.
exactly when. I'm want to say it's February, March. I can't remember. I got to look it up and see on when it's exactly supposed to be playing. But they've offered him a 5-year deal, 18 million a year, $90 million in total. Stephen A. Smith has come back and he wants $25 million per year as doing what he does. And so Brad, you and I kind of know how television works. But is it worth paying him 25 million or is it worth to let him go?
I say I'm not a huge Stephen A. Smith. Never really
I
been
love
a
Stephen
huge.
A. Smith. I love the
I
dude.
I've never been a huge Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I love Shannon Sharp. I love Shannon in First Take. Skip was good for a while, but since he's gone to Fox, he's gone off the deep end. Uh, he's become kind of a nut. I mean, I don't mind Stephen A. I guess I should say I don't like him. I mean, I don't mind him. There's times that I definitely agree with him, but there's times it's like, what? Especially when he goes on a rant. Uh, Definitely love his objective opinion on the Dallas Cowboys. I know you love that, but anyway.
We're not going there.
But besides that, Ricky, it's really, and here's another situation that ESPN needs to be careful with too. Also, on a sidebar here, I know something else to discuss. Pat McAfee has not agreed to return to college football game day for
Yep.
next year. So that's another thing that ESPN needs to watch out. And of course, there's been some beef between McAfee and Smith, especially when it comes to contracts and the money. Because I think right now McAfee is getting paid a lot more money than Stephen A. Smith is, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, the problem with television, Ricky, you know this as well as I do. It's not really about cable television anymore. The money's not there. Really, ratings for ESPN's been struggling for a while. And we're going to get into another topic when we get to JJ Redick being hired. But anyway, besides the point. But ratings for ESPN has not been very high. And I don't think the First Take, if I'm not mistaken, at one point it might be still there, but First Take was actually second behind Skip Bayless's show on Fox FS1 for a little bit. That's probably
I
not
think it
true
was a
now.
very I think it was a very short time period, because if you look at the ratings, um, they're not even close. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not even close.
and it's probably different now because for a while they couldn't find Skip a partner until Keyshawn came over there. And of course, Rachel Nichols is the host of that show right now, too. Uh, but at any rate, it's kind of hard to say yay or nay. But if I was Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith doesn't need because Stephen A. Smith, even though if he's not offered 25 million, he can say, well, I got my own podcast. I'll just do my own thing independently, which I think that probably what will end up happening. I think Stephen A. Smith's going to say, you know what? I don't need ESPN. I'm just going to do my own thing independently and move forward with that. But at the same time, I think ESPN probably will come up to 20 to $22 million. That's where I'm guessing a year. I don't think they're going to get to the $25 million mark. But if I'm ESPN, I would say right now, because you're bleeding money. You're really bleeding money. I would say let them go and see if you can try out someone else. Get some younger upcoming analysts or talent up there. I just don't think I don't think ESPN can afford to pay Stephen A. Smith $25 million. That's what I'm saying.
Well, this is where I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think they can afford to let him go, because of how much First
I
Take
see
does.
that. I
So
see that.
you all right? So this is the average viewership so far this year. Let me pull this up, Brad, because
Hmm.
this is gonna kind of blow your mind a little bit. If you take if you take out um the College World Series, if you take out those events, things like that, these are actual daily television shows. If you take them out, First Take is number one. They have been for years. It's not
Okay.
even, and for the most part, it's not even close. Part of the interruption does outrank them a little bit, but part of the interruption is a 30-minute straight up debate show. It's not even it's not a long episodic show, if that makes sense. If
I
you
haven't
take
watched PTI in a long time. I'll be honest.
Oh, I haven't either, and they're actually down a little bit compared to what they were. But I
Yeah,
mean,
oh
I
yeah.
I, I haven't either. But when you take that all that into consideration, First Take is number one. First Take averages 500,000 viewers per day. That is their average that they average per day is 500,000. And so you take that. The next one is Get Up. Get up,
Yeah.
get up with Mike Greenberg. They average 368,000. And then you mentioned Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee is 244,000 viewers. They don't even do as much as Get Up, which I would think they would do more than Get Up. Which, if you look at the past couple of months, they have done as much as Get Up, but overall, they still don't do as well as Get Up. Here's the thing: the Pat McAfee show was acquired by ESPN.
And I'm gonna say he's got a YouTube channel that probably most of his audience
Probably
watches.
probably so too.
Yeah.
ESPN does pay him an annuity or whatever it is. They do pay him a salary, but he's not employed by ESPN. And
Yeah.
so when you take that in consideration, his show was just acquired by them. He was doing just fine on his own,
Oh
but he's
yeah.
doing even more now that he's not only is he on ESPN, but he has the own streaming on YouTube, and I'm sure that he uses other streaming and everything like that. So when you take that into consideration, Stephen A. Smith is beating them by an average of anywhere between 150 to 200. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me take the back. Stephen A. Smith is beating them by an average anywhere between 140,000 to almost 300 or 250,000 viewers. That's that much of a gap between First Take and them. And then you can even go to Fox Sports, Brad. Excuse me. If you can even go to like the Fox Sports Network or whatever it is, the Fox Sports Fox Sports Network, they don't even do anything close to what
They're struggling. They
to what
are mighty
ESPN
struggling.
does. They are struggling big time. Their biggest thing right now is First Things First, and that's what's his name, Nick Wright and Chris Broussard. They only average 136,000 viewers. The Herd with Colin Cowherd, that's just a single show, he averages 128,000, and then it's everybody else. Undisputed right now is only averaging 77,000 people. It's not doing very. They're suffering right
No.
now at FS1, and so you take that into consideration. If you let him go, there is a possibility. Yes, you could bring the new on-air talent. You could do whatever the case may be, and it will probably survive. But here's the thing, though, Brad. Look what WWE is doing. Look what these other big time guys have done. A lot, like we mentioned, Pat McAfee having his own streaming show. I don't think Pat McAfee needs ESPN,
He doesn't need, no, he doesn't.
but
He can leave.
But
He can leave to
he
ESPN,
can
be
leave at
fine.
any moment. But here's the thing: if they don't give him 25 million, he'll make 25 million elsewhere, and
Oh, yeah.
he won't be near his schedule won't be near as busy. Basically, this is a power move for Stephen A. Smith. Not that I don't think he wants any more control than what he already has, but I think this is a situation where he's like, look, Pat McAfee, I think Pat McAfee's deal was 5 years, 85 million. They're offered to pay him 5 million, only 5 million more. And he's like, I'm swallowing Pat McAfee whole in my ratings. Swallowing him whole in the ratings. Not saying Pat McAfee don't deserve it, but swallowing him whole in the ratings. So
And
if I'm Stephen A. Smith and I'm swallowing him that much in the ratings, if you want First Take to survive, pay him the 25 million, because here's what's going to happen. It's no more about cable and satellite television anymore. All he's got to do is do his own streaming. What if Netflix does well with the WWE? Netflix may want to go to Stephen A. Smith. Hey, Stephen A., we'll allow you to be on YouTube, but how would you like to be on Netflix? Or if Hulu comes in, which Hulu's owned by ABC Disney, I'm just saying, like, in general. Hey, Stephen A., you could do your own streaming network,
or
create your
Peacock.
own, or Peacock, something like that. And so he does not need ESPN to make $18 million. He doesn't need ESPN to make 25 million. What he's saying is,
yeah,
if you want me to continue to do what I'm doing, this is what I want to be paid.
well, the only problem is, if I'm not mistaken, ESPN with Disney has run a deficit. I want to say it's into the millions. So the problem is, how do you find
COVID hurt that bad, though.
well, that, and plus, like you talked about, the streaming services is hurting that too, because not a whole lot of people these days watch cable television like used to. Like, for example, I'm watching TV, but most of my shows I watch streaming services. I also like my television comes from YouTube TV.
Yeah.
I only have cable. But and another argument is, with McAfee, you can say Stephen A is killing them with cable ratings. That is true, very much true. But no, how many are watching? Again, I say, how many is watching McAfee on YouTube? And maybe Stephen A Smith's taking a note of that too, and say, well, wait a minute, he has all these viewers on streaming. And I see what he's trying to do. And I don't disagree with what Stephen A. Smith's trying to do. All I'm saying is, I don't think ESPN can afford him because of the money they lost. They had several layoffs I think within the last year.
But that's the thing, though, Brad, because here's where it gets confusing. If they couldn't afford him, why not let him go for the layoffs? why not just let him go then? Of course, I understand that he still has a contract that they have to fulfill, but why not just lay him off then if they can't afford it? I mean,
Well,
I
and
understand. Like I didn't even understand the layout. I understood that they were saving a whole lot of money, but they're also in that deficit. COVID, a lot of it is Disney. A lot of it comes
unless
is Disney itself because Disney lost all
uh,
that they lost all the viewership. They lost all the visitors and stuff like that when they had to shut Disney World down for COVID.
well, unless Stephen A. Smith has a contract similar to those back in the day in WCW, where he had a guaranteed contract where he's going to get
Could have
paid
been.
where he sits or if he works. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he has a similar contract like that, where if they lay him off, he's still going to get paid. And
Mhm.
so, well, if he's going to get paid, might as well work him. Uh, and but I just like I said, I just don't see ESPN coming up to pay him. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm not saying they should not pay him. I think I mean, for the ratings he's producing, yeah, they probably should pay him $25 million. But that's a $7 million gap right there, Ricky. A
It
$7 million
It's a
gap.
lot.
It's a lot. I mean, that there are one's in right field, one's way out left field. And so I see ESPN coming up a little bit. I see them coming up to probably around 20 to 22 million, but they're not getting to the $25 million mark. And that's where Steve A. Smith's got to make the decision. Do I stay on with ESPN, or I could go independent just like McAfee? I can start streaming, and probably eventually someone like Peacock, Paramount, or Netflix, like you talked about earlier, could pick me up and I get paid an annuity, but I'm still my own employee, just like McAfee.
Could could be, but like I said, I just don't see. It was very easy
Yeah,
when Skip left First Take.
of course.
I knew First Take would survive because you had a personality like Stephen A. Smith who was going to be able to carry that on. I just don't see. They have a ton of potential. They have a ton of talent. I don't see them. I think they'll survive. I just don't see them peaking like they are now. I just don't do it. I
You
just
don't
don't see it.
think you don't think they could build the show around Shannon Sharp?
I don't think Shannon Sharp needs ESPN.
Well, he doesn't, but for
I
right now though, he has a contract.
I think you're going to run into a similar situation. I
Eventually,
just
yes.
the thing with Shannon Sharp though, Brad,
Mhm.
I'm not because like I said, he is terrific at what he does. He has evolved so much.
And he's got his
Um,
podcast.
he's
That's
got
pretty
his
good
own
too.
podcast, Club Shay Shay, which I've listened to several of his interviews, more like
Yeah.
therapy, but I've still listened to several of his interviews, and they're all he's terrific.
Yeah, yeah.
He will not be able to carry the torch like Stephen A. Smith did. I don't see anybody they currently have that will be able to carry the torch the way Stephen A. Smith did. I just don't see it.
Well, I think for ESPN, of course, there's so many you could blame Disney, but there's so many other reasons why to blame ratings on ESPN too, besides Disney. But yeah, being owned by Disney and them and COVID hitting and them losing a bunch of money. And of course,
Yeah.
the streaming services and I know people might not like me for saying this, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say woke politics really hurt ESPN too. I'm just
They
gonna say it.
have. They have. I'll definitely agree to that one. Definitely agree to that one. All right, let's get into the actual meat of sports and everything like that. We've got a few minutes still. We'll go through some of this as much. Um, JJ Redick. Speaking of Stephen A. JJ Redick could have been that torch that could have carried First Take had he stuck around. And so anyway, so JJ Redick has been named the new head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the reported salary is going to be about $8 million a year. There's a big outcry because JJ Redick does not have head coaching experience in the NBA or has no coaching experience whatsoever. Um, so, Brad, what are your thoughts on JJ Redick becoming the new head coach?
Well, Ricky, looks like he could have qualified the job. The only thing he needed was to have a podcast with LeBron James. You would have been the head coach Los Angeles Lakers. Your dream, you should could have your dream job. All thing you need to do is maybe sit on the bench for 1 or 2 games as a player, and then all of a sudden you be you be the head coach and have a podcast with LeBron. I I hope JJ has success. I do. And I'm not necessarily against the hire as far as, coach, as far as being a coach. I think it's hypocritical for LeBron. I think LeBron had a lot of influence on it. And I think it's hypocritical for the NBA. I think it's hypocritical for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think it's really hypocritical if you want to speak about ESPN woke and ESPN too for really kind of ragging this on per se. Because you had a head coach out there. Yeah, a head coach out there right now has multiple championships as a player. He has multiple championships as an assistant coach. He's been an assistant coach for 14 years. You know who I'm talking about?
Sam Cassell.
Sam Cassell. He has not had an opportunity. What's wrong with Sam Cassell? If I look at apples to oranges, Sam Cassell and JJ Redick, he didn't even get a sniff of the job, Ricky. And I'm not usually one of those that tries to go in this route, but I don't want to hear LeBron James speak about anymore about people lack opportunities. I don't want to hear anyone in the NBA talking about, although they've toned their stuff down for the last several years. I don't want to hear ESPN talk about it anymore. I don't want to hear any of it because to me, in my personal opinion, and this is just me, I know I'm just talking for myself. I just think this hire just proves the hypocrisy with a lot of these people. Now, again, I wish JJ Redick nothing but success. I think JJ Redick's got a good mind for what I have listened of him. But to tell me he didn't get the job because he didn't have because he has a podcast with LeBron James, don't tell me he didn't get the job because of that. And by the way, this is the same ownership that took away season tickets, God rest his soul, from Jerry West because he criticized the current owner, Jeanie Buss's relationship with Phil Jackson. This is how bad this franchise has been ran for a very, very long time. And so I just want to say, kudos to the Lakers. Hopefully they have success. I can't blame Dan Hurley for not wanting to be part of that mess. And for Dan Hurley to be back into college basketball is good for college basketball too. But again, I do wish JJ Redick the success, but I don't want to hear any more about coaches not getting opportunities because of when you had a coach that's been assistant for a very long time that has not even sniffed an opportunity yet.
So, first of all, with the whole Jerry West thing, Jerry West does express his opinion. I respect that opinion, but Phil Jackson did win 5 NBA titles with the Los Angeles Lakers, so I don't want to hear about that nonsense of, oh my
He
God.
got 7. He got 7 as an executive. Or
Sure.
8.
Hey,
8.
I understand that, but I'm just saying in general, Phil Jackson, while I'm not gonna say what I really want to say. While he was having relations with Jenny Buss, while he was anyway, while him and Jenny Buss were together, he won 5 titles with the Lakers. I don't want to hear this. I get it. It's unprofessional. I get it to an extent.
Hey, Ricky.
It's almost like a never mind. We're not going to go there. Anyways,
Ricky, one more question.
Go ahead.
Who put those pieces together as an executive?
Well, Phil Jackson did. Phil Jackson was
Jerry West did.
I understand
he brought
that.
Shaq. He brought Shaq in.
I understand that, but you got to see Phil Jackson as well. Did you realize how many egos are in that freaking locker room? It wasn't just Kobe and Shaq he had to deal with. But anyways, it was the same way at Chicago. I'm just saying the man had a ton of rings. All right, so I don't want to hear this nonsense.
Scottie Pippen.
We're not talking about Scottie Pippen. We're not talking about Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen wants people to talk about him for the simple fact is that they don't give him enough credit because he was number 2 behind Michael Jordan. You had your chance to be number 1 and you screwed it up, Scotty. You couldn't win without You couldn't win without Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan proved it. Now,
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
anyway, back to the whole thing with the Los Angeles Lakers, because I'm kind of in the same boat that you're in. Here's my only takeaway with Sam Cassell, though, Brad. Why has no one else reached out to him?
That's a good
People want
question.
to people can criticize the Lakers all they want to. Why has no one else reached out to him?
And
He played for several teams in the NBA. Several. I think about 6 or 7 of them. He played for about 6 or 7 teams. If my memory, let me look this up real quick. As a
I'm
matter of
looking
fact,
it up.
I got it pulled up right now. He played for Houston. He played for Phoenix. He played for Dallas, New Jersey, Milwaukee, Minnesota, the Clippers, and he played a year at for the Boston Celtics before he retired in 09. And then as soon as he got done playing, that's when he started coaching.
Yeah.
He's been an assistant with the Wizards, the Clippers, and the 76ers, and he's currently an assistant with the Boston Celtics. So I don't want to hear this crap about how the Los Angeles Lakers didn't give him a sniff or anything like that. Why is no one else giving him a sniff? There have been a plethora, Brad, a plethora of NBA jobs between the time he started coaching in 2009 until present day. There's got to be a reason why people don't want to, or there's got to be a reason people are not taking a chance at him. I think one day he will. I think one day that he will. But I also want to preface. There have been great players in the day. Of course, he wasn't the greatest player, but there have been great players who went on to be coaches who didn't have the greatest success. Isaiah Thomas was one of them. And people sing Isaiah's praises all the daggum time. I don't want to hear it. So it's not the Lakers. It's not the Lakers' fault that they're not the only one that has not reached out to Sam Cassell. So that's number two.
Well, here's the thing. Let me just real quick. So he was assistant with the Washington Wizards, but he coached under Flip Saunders. So he's had good coaches he's coached under. I mean, it's not like he's
Yeah.
coaching. No, he coached under Doc Rivers twice. And of course he was under Joe Mazzulla. So maybe he did. Well, and here's another thing, Ricky, and I probably should have not assumed. Maybe he doesn't want to be a head coach.
No, he wants to be a head coach. No,
I don't know.
he wants to be a head coach.
I mean,
Yeah,
Phil Jackson had a nice lieutenant for years and years. I forget his name, and he was just a lieutenant for Phil Jackson for several years, including with the Lakers. I can't think of the guy's name right now, and he never desired to be a head coach.
Yeah, but that's him. No, Sam Cassell has desired, like he has stated publicly, he wants to be a head coach, and that's fine. But that's the thing, Brad. There are many assistant coaches in the NBA who get a chance to be a head coach. A lot of assistant coaches, whether it gets reported or not, they get an opportunity to interview. They get an opportunity to get in front of people. Now I could be wrong, but there's got to be something about Sam Cassell where people are just where these executives are not pulling the trigger on Sam Cassell. That's not the Lakers' fault. I mean that's just not the Lakers' fault. Period. So number three, why would you want the Lakers job to begin with?
That's true too.
Like right now, if you were to, and I understand why JJ Redick did it because it's the Lakers. It's the greatest franchise in the history of basketball. It is the greatest franchise in the history of basketball. Why wouldn't you want that opportunity? Now, I want to hear about the Boston Celtics. All right, I'm serious, and I'm dead serious when I say that because the Boston Celtics, you think about it, they won 11 with Bill Russell, and that was many, many years ago. They have not stayed consistently relevant over the years as much as the Lakers have. Anyways, with that being
well, since this podcast, we might as well condolences. Jerry West, God rest his soul.
Yes,
also,
Jerry. Yeah.
But of course, God rest Bill Walton's soul as well. We lost Bill Walton while so anyway, speaking of Boston Celtics, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, well, he also played for Portland. Anyways,
yeah.
So I'm just saying in general, why would you even want the job to begin with? And I understand JJ being young and everything like that. But Dan Hurley, they offered Dan Hurley, which they should have offered Dan Hurley way more than what they offered him. That wasn't even close to an offer. That was a low ball offer. But the Lakers are in a very, very tough spot right now because you're paying two superstars over $50 million per year, plus you're paying a superstar who's about to go in his 22nd year in the league, who is past his prime now. It's very, very clear that LeBron James is past his prime. And then Anthony Davis, he played a great year this past year. He's back on the trading block. There's rumors he's going to get traded. You have this young plethora of talent behind you. But here's the thing, Brad. They've thrown away so many draft picks over the years. And I understand that the NBA draft picks aren't as valuable in the NBA as what they are in the NFL because there's not as many of them in the NBA because a lot of times it's so easy to miss talent in the NBA. It,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
it's 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 easier to miss talent in the NBA than what it is in the NFL because there's so much fewer players. In the NFL, you have all these players that come out because there's so many positions. Because you're talking about 22 different positions. Now, unless you count the kicker 23 and the punter 24, but but you get what I'm saying. And so there's so many positions that they have to worry about. And so with that being said, the Lakers are a win now team. But in order for them to be a win now team, Brad, they have to get rid of their future assets, and they can't afford to do that. They're not
Yeah.
going to win a championship anytime soon. It's not going to happen.
No.
The next time they win a championship will be well after LeBron is gone. And I hate to say that because they're the Lakers, but it's just the truth. And the fact of the matter is, I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised JJ wanted it, but I don't want to hear this crap that he doesn't have coaching experience because we've seen many coaches who played in the NBA
I
who
agree with that.
came out. Doc Rivers, who I can't stand, didn't have any coaching experience. He won a championship at Boston. He hasn't done anything since then. But I'm just saying in general, Jason Kidd went to the NBA Finals as a coach this year. You have players with no previous coaching experience do this all the time. It's nothing new. It's just it's just part of it.
No, that's why I say I agree with that part of it. I just say again, but Ricky, of course, news is a source is actually stating that they're looking at to elevate Sam Cassell's role with the Boston Celtics. So I mean, he is valuable somehow, some way. But anyway, I don't have a problem with JJ Redick getting the job because, like you say, many first year coaches, many coaches become coaches in the NBA specifically. You don't see it in a whole lot of other sports though, but you do specifically see it in the NBA more often than
Uh-huh.
not. That has no coaching experience become head coaches, which, like I said, I don't have a problem with that. I think the problem is you could have expanded your search and found an assistant or some. I just threw Sam Cassell's name just for example, but there's other coaches out there, Ricky, that are out there that could become that the Lakers could have drawn from, and could have been a head coach and had coaching experience because the Lakers have tried this no coaching experience become the head coach and it's not worked. It has not worked. And it's kind of it's kind of at the point, well, we're going to pick this is the 10th head coach that LeBron has played under, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, his NBA career. And that's 22. So if you average that, so LeBron's averaging 2 years with a head coach. That's absolutely ridiculous that you got this man that has that much power. That's just me. That's my personal. He wanted Eric Spoelstra fired. You
I
hear about
know.
that? Yeah, he wanted Eric
I
Spoelstra.
know.
What the heck? I mean, what? I mean, just the guy just doesn't. So my question, I'm going to put you on the spot here real quick. Lakers draft Bronny James, yes or no?
God, I hope not.
But
I I, I hope not.
if you had an unbiased opinion, do you think they draft him, yes or no?
Probably so. I
Yeah.
I, I
Eh,
it's so ridiculous though because you're giving so much power to a guy who's past his prime.
Hey,
Um,
passive time. Yeah.
and now Kobe. Now here's the thing though about the 10 head coaches though. Kobe Bryant had 10 head coaches. I didn't know that.
I didn't realize
But
it.
the reason I didn't realize it was because Phil Jackson was with him for most of his career, and then the Lakers started flip flopping. He had Mike D'Antoni, he had Mike Brown,
Yeah.
Byron Scott was the coach the last couple of years. But you're also dealing with two different situations because Kobe Bryant was with that franchise his entire
All of his
career, his
career.
his, his entire career,
Right.
and then
Well,
toward the end of his career, Of course, this was no fault of Byron Scott's or anything like that, but toward the end of his career, they didn't build around him. They really didn't build. They didn't build a whole lot around him at all. And so, and then of course he got his injury and everything like that really hurt toward the end of his career. Um, but it's like now it's like you're bowing down to this person who's not going to win you a championship. He's going to put butts in seats, which that's what it's all about, I guess. But other than that, I don't see why you would even draft Bronny James. He's not even that good. He's
Uh,
not even that good at all.
well, and of course, the Lakers years back, you talk about Dan Hurley. Remember, they went after Coach K. They
Yeah,
seriously went after Coach K,
yeah.
and Coach K did the same thing, turned them down. Uh,
But Coach K, yeah, that's the thing though. Coach K, I remember because he right after the lockout, I think it was 99, I think it's when the Boston Celtics wanted to hire him. And
I
then
think,
and then
yeah,
and then it was '05 with the Lakers, I believe is when they offered it to Coach K. Coach K almost did it because he had a great relationship with Kobe Bryant. But I
right.
think I think with Coach K, he knew he wanted to stick with the college level because he fit better at the college level. He had Team USA. He didn't need to go to the NBA, and
No,
and he would have. And of course, if you look at taxes and everything like that, he probably made more money at Duke than what he would have made at in Los Angeles.
and that's the whole point. No, it's the same thing with Dan Hurley, although he's also in a state that has a pretty high tax rate, but not as high as Los
Not as
Angeles,
high as Los
California.
Angeles,
Yeah,
no.
not as high as Los Angeles, California. And again, he gets to run the team. There's a difference between college and pros. He's the leader of the team. Although, there's our NIL. Yes, there's a transfer portal. Players might not like it, but at the end of the day, in college, is the buck stops with the head coach
I
in most
think
programs.
I
Programs, excuse me.
believe I believe if Dan Hurley was not returning a good group back from the going back to back, I think he'd have been the head coach this year. The timing was just so bad for it, but I do believe
He
they
could have.
lowballed him. I believe they lowballed the money offer.
Well, and like you said too, who wouldn't want to take that job? And LeBron, and like you say,
They're about to rebuild,
Dan
and that's the thing. They're going to
Dan
rebuild.
Dan Hurley would inherit a 22-year veteran compared to Coach K, who would have inherited a still very young Kobe Bryant that was
That's it.
still in his
I don't think he was
prime.
10 years in whenever that happened.
No, he was
Let's
not. It was
think
like
he
8 years in. He
8
was about
years
eight
in.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, about
something
eight
like that.
years in.
Golly.
Because I think he was drafted in 97, 98, something like that.
I think it was
And
96.
yeah, and of course, no, with Boston, you mentioned with Coach K, of course, Boston hired Rick Pitino after they lost the national title to Arizona in 97.
Yeah.
And of course, I think Rick Pitino's let go around 2000, 2001, something like that. And he goes to Louisville. But at any rate, the whole point of it is, kudos to Dan Hurley. Of course, he's going to get a big contract with Connecticut uh, to
Yeah.
stay there, and he's going to get a big extension. And eventually, the state of Connecticut will be his because, although Gino, he's been there a long time and he's got the most national championships in women's
He
college
exci- he
basketball.
is he signed an extension.
Yeah, that's surprising. He's like in his
I
70s.
thought he was going to retire. I'm like, dude, retire.
He
You gonna
needs to retire. He
you gonna
should probably,
fall over dead coaching.
but he does got Paige Beckers coming back, so I can understand why he came back.
I thought she got drafted for some reason.
No, she didn't. No, she's back.
Oh,
She's
good
back
for
for one
her.
last year. Yo, so he's got Paige Beckers back, and
Yeah, and with
he's got
a lot of those teams that lost a ton of players from last year,
yeah.
they probably have a decent chance to beat South Carolina. I don't know if anybody's going to beat South Carolina
I
next
know
year,
it.
but I'm telling
Yeah,
you what, I don't know what's going to happen. That'll be a perfect time. Let's of course we have other stuff that we could definitely discuss, but this would be a perfect time to go into Caitlin Clark and the drama that the WNBA has caused
yes.
with her being
Oh
in
my
there.
goodness.
And so yeah, it just so first of all, I want to go ahead and put the stance on right now, Brad, because there was this big outcry that she wasn't on Team USA. Now, I'm going to say this. I have two sides of this because of the
Yeah,
simple fact is that number one, Caitlin Clark has not been in professional basketball long enough, in my opinion, to earn a spot in Team USA. However, One thing with Team USA though that I will say is including the men in recent history, and actually not just recent history, you go back 30, 40 years, you will see players who were not at the professional level. This is the time when they started sending pros to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And
Christian Laettner? What?
Christian Laettner, he came right out of college. He was in it. And I'm sure there was a plethora of other players. He was on the dream team.
He's on the dream team.
The
Exactly.
dream team.
Yes.
So no, I don't want to hear this crap about, oh, we can't. No, 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 no. Anyways, because that's the big thing. The big thing with her being on Team USA would have promoted women's basketball a lot more, which is what they need. And so that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that what they need.
You know,
I
Ricky, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
You're
go ahead.
talking.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say how much playing time is the 12th best player, quote unquote, is going to get during the
They're gonna
Olympics?
win. They're gonna win every game by 40,
Well, of
at
course.
least.
They're going to play garbage time. But go ahead. I got a little bit
They
more to
probably,
say.
they probably will. I'm just saying. Anyways, so with that being said, the WNBA,
Oh my goodness.
these players are getting on my last nerve. I'm telling you right now, Brad, they're getting. It's like I want to. I literally want to stand in front of them and give them this whole ordeal on what's going on, so that way they will shut up about, oh, it's just more than just Caitlin Clark. It's just more than Caitlin Clark. Oh, well, there's more players than Caitlin Clark. Oh, shut up. Grow up, for the love of God. Do you, I don't understand, Brad. Like, I don't get it. I get it to an extent. Let me take that back. I get it to an extent. I get it that you have several players who are in the league currently who have been playing for a long time,
Yeah.
even some in the past. You look at Diana Taurasi, and you remember how good she probably was in college, which we didn't watch her much in college. It was 20 years ago. But
I watched her. She's pretty good. She's
she was
pretty good.
she was pretty
I,
good.
I mean,
And
there was one game we watched, Ricky, was the Tennessee UConn game. I mean, that's what it is.
that was it.
Yeah.
That,
That's
that
up.
but
Yeah.
here's the thing. For many, many years, the WNBA, and this is more on the WNBA than it is anybody else. The actual WNBA itself has not done a very good job of promoting itself over the
No, it
years.
hasn't.
And so a few years ago, you start getting this outcry from women basketball players, and they're saying, "Well, we're not getting paid like the men are. We want to get paid. We want to get paid this multi-millions." And I get it, because a lot of these women, especially like Brittany Griner, who had to go overseas. Of course, Brittany Griner, she got into trouble in Russia, and everybody knows that whole ordeal.
Mhm.
And a lot of them have to go overseas just so that way they can make ends meet, because they don't make very much money in the WNBA. So I get that. I get that wholeheartedly. But the WNBA has had net revenue losses over the years. The NBA funds the WNBA. If it wasn't for those extra funds that the NBA gets for funding the WNBA would not exist. The WNBA cannot and will not fund itself. They have to get to a point where they can fund themselves. This is where Caitlin Clark comes in. I understand that over the years that you've had great players. There's been great players that have come over the years, and yes, we can all admit that a lot of us have probably missed out on a lot of stuff. We probably missed out on a lot of some great players. I've kept up with the WNBA probably just as much, if not a little more, than the average person does. And over the years, I was a big Candace Parker fan. In the 2000s, it was Lisa Leslie. I remember when Lisa Leslie
Yep.
and Candace Parker played together with Candace Parker's rookie year. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, the Sparks are going to be good again. And so, they won a championship with Candace Parker. Yes, we've seen great players. And I understand their point of them being overlooked. But that's not Caitlin Clark's fault. All of a sudden, you get a player. Caitlin Clark is like a female version of Steph Curry. And if you guys remember, Steph Curry did not have the greatest rookie year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing though, but Caitlin Clark has all of a sudden come in as a rookie, and as a rookie, she is doubling attendance. She is
Yeah.
doubling more than some of the attendance. And then you have some of these players like Angel Reese who are crying like a big baby. Well, there's people there to watch me too. Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
Yeah.
Because for every 2 to 3 people that are there to watch you, I'm sorry, for every I'm sorry, for every, how can I do this? For every one that's there to watch you, there's 2 or 3 others there just to watch Caitlin Clark. They're not there to watch you. They don't even care who wins the game. They want to see her succeed. They want to see her play because, and I'm going to say this, I think she'll win Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese might edge it because she does have better stats right now. But in the long run, Caitlin Clark is going to be a star in this league. And you ought to be grateful that people are actually paying attention now to the WNBA. This is the way that you get it going. You have to get that spark. You've had 0 players over the years who have given you that spark that Caitlin Clark has given you right now. Just shut up and enjoy this moment. Promote your sport. Give us a reason to watch. Because just like you said a while ago, Brad, when it came to women's college basketball, the only thing we cared about was Connecticut and Tennessee. And the only thing we looked at whenever the college schedule came out, when's Tennessee and Connecticut playing each other?
Yep. You're absolutely right. And I remember the early days of WNBA. I watched Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie. Rebecca Lobo played for New York Liberty. And of course, though, Candace Parker when she got drafted. Sue Bird played for a while in Seattle, and Diana Taurasi. I'm gonna go to the Team USA first. I get that they want the 12 best players on that team. But if you look at the number 12 player, you're telling me you could put Clayton Clark on there as the 12th player? Are you kidding me? You know what, Ricky? I'm going to say this. You probably it's going to blow your mind. I wouldn't mind if you put Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on the team. I wouldn't have cared. I don't care.
They're still going to win.
They're going to win by 40 points. You could have put both of them on the team because, of course, with that rivalry, everybody would love to see that. Oh, they're going to actually be on the same team. I mean, goodness gracious, that's number one. Number two, it is about the growth of the game. It's not only it's just growth in the United States, but it was an opportunity for them to grow the game outside the United States as well. Where some of these foreign women could have been recognized and have opportunities to play over here as well. And I think that was a missed opportunity for Team USA, and it was a missed opportunity for the Olympics to have that. I mean, again, if you had both of them on the team, you think they're going to get much playing time? Probably not. The only playing time they would got was garbage time and maybe a little bit of time when they were up by 50.
People would have paid money just to see them two sit the bench.
Absolutely, they would have. Them sitting beside each other and having a conversation. People would have paid
What's
money
that little
to see
slapping game that girls used to play growing up?
Yeah.
We'll see them doing that on the bench.
Exactly. So that's number one. I would have, I wouldn't mind having both of them on the team. That's number one. I think it's a big missed opportunity. But like I say, there's two sides of it. They pick the best 12 players, but again, does the 12th best player really matter, Ricky? Or the 11th best player on the team really matter? No, because they're not going to play much. So it was an opportunity they missed. And like you say, there's actually been active college because when Christian Laettner was on the Dream Team, yeah, oh yeah, he was just coming after college. You're right. He hadn't been drafted yet. Oh, he was just drafted. He ain't played an NBA game yet because of how the NBA season is compared to the WNBA. He ain't played a game yet. He was still on the Dream Team. That's number one. Now the WNBA. DAs of the century right now. Anyways, why they're DAs of the century is number one is you're not protect. No, how in the world do you call a common foul on what the the Chicago Sky player did to Caitlin with the body check? How in the heck is that a common foul in any league? Hey, are you kidding me? The league had to change it to a flagrant foul. That's number one. Number two, Angel Reese. I'm for Angel Reese being on Team USA too, but this is what I have against Angel Reese is this. When she complains about, oh, they're watching me too. Really? When your team ranks sixth in the WNBA in attendance. No, they're not watching you. I'm sorry. They're not. They're watching Caitlin.
And there's not many teams in the WNBA.
Exactly. I think there's 16 teams, or is there
It's something
maybe
like that.
24?
I got. No, it's not 24.
Yeah,
It's not that many.
yeah, it's something like that.
They are looking to expand 3 more teams though, and I think eventually that they'll do it, but we'll
Yeah,
see if
I
that
think
happens.
right. And the thing about it is they're not watching you like they are Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry.
No, it's like I
Number three,
said. That's like I said. For every person that's watching Angel Reese, there's 2 or 3 more watching Caitlin Clark.
exactly. That's the number two. Number three, you now have charter flights because of Caitlin Clark. Let's just face it. You were flying commercial, and now you have an opportunity to have charter flights, and somebody has to complain about charter flights. Are you kidding me? I'll take a charter flight.
I will
Give me a
too.
charter. Give me a charter flight with all the fixings and everything. I'll take a charter flight. That's number three. Number four, the WNBA without the NBA. You mentioned this. You know how much in the hole they would be in?
A lot of more than what they're in now.
$50 million a year. That's
Yeah.
the estimate. Without the NBA funneling money to help the WNBA, without the WNBA having the NBA network to showcase their games, because I think the other network is EON, ION, the ION network. What's that? And then you got
It's irrelevant, Brad. They don't get. I'm pretty sure FS1 gets more ratings than they do.
and then you got the ABC, and then you got ABC and ESPN. That's it. That's all you got. And so Caitlin Clark is bringing more eyeball. You know, I watched my first WNBA game. I can tell you when this past, and I watched her play Angel Reese. And give Angel Reese credit. She had a double double. She played great. But so did Caitlin Clark. She played great too. They both played great. And I think it was a great game between two teams. I thought the Indiana Fever strategy at the end was terrible, but that's besides the point. But at the end of the day, Ricky, Caitlin Clark's bringing eyeballs to the league. And if the league has to cater to them like they did Michael a little bit, so be it. Who cares? You're making money. You know, they cater to Michael. They've catered to Magic and Bird. They cater to because they bring eyeballs to the table. They bring people to the table. They bring new viewers. And you know what? If they have to cater to Caitlin Clark a little bit, so be it. I don't care if she's white, she's black, she's Hispanic, or whatever. She can be whatever. But Caitlin Clark is bringing eyeballs right now to the league. Let's respect that. Let's appreciate that. And yes, I do think Caitlin Clark is going to be one of the best players in the league in the future, or maybe the best player in the league. And yes, she does have to grow a little bit in her frame. And yes, she's got to get used to the physicality of the league. She has to. But that's like any college basketball player normally would have to, coming out from college to pro. But let's just appreciate what she's bringing to the league and appreciate what she's bringing to women's college basketball. Because, like I mentioned earlier, it used to be about the coaches. You know, it was Pat Summitt and Gino Auriemma. That's what we enjoy. We enjoyed the coaching matchup of Pat Summitt versus Gino. Now we can actually not only, because I couldn't even tell you who the coaches of the Chicago Sky or the Indiana Fever. I think the one named Siders and the other one's name is Teresa Weatherspoon. Teresa Weatherspoon is the head coach for.
I know Becky Hammond's coaches the Las Vegas Aces. I know
Yeah,
that.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. So you know it. So now it's not all about the coaches anymore, which that's good. That's growth.
It's good. Yep, that is growth.
It's about the players, and there's a lot of good women basketball players. And because of what Caitlin Clark did, a lot more people is going to notice these different players that are actually good as well.
And if you're a really good basketball fan, go watch high school basketball, especially the state and regional tournaments. Whenever you have a team that switches every 5 players every 10 seconds.
You know what? I'm going to miss that because Falk is no longer in JCVille's league next year, or no longer in their
Yeah,
district.
I think they're going to be in another district next year. Yep, they're supposed
Yep.
to. Yeah, they're going to be in another. I got to look it up and see. I can't. I've seen it once. I just don't remember who all they're gonna be. But like I said, I got a tough schedule at Whitehall this next year. Golly, I got a tough
You gotta
schedule.
tell me when you go to Hot Springs to Lakeside though, because I
I
gotta
will.
see. Yeah, I gotta see you, and I gotta see my classmate Blake. Of course, he's the head junior high head coach there. So
I won't play them in junior high. It'll be just senior high that plays them. But well, I mean, I'm still going to attend the game.
well, you'll be the on the bench for the junior high, won't you?
No, no, the senior high is the only one that plays them. I
Oh,
won't be
I
on the
thought.
bench. I won't be
Oh,
on the bench
okay.
for senior high. No, I won't be
Okay.
on. No, unless something happens between now and then, I won't be on the
Oh,
bench
I
for
thought you.
senior high.
I thought you were playing them in junior high too. I'm sorry.
No, we don't play them in junior high. No,
Oh,
it's they do something totally different for junior high. We have 10 different teams in our conference for junior high, but
interesting.
but Lakeside isn't one of them. Yep, well, yep. So
All right. So
all right, we're out of time. DAs of the
yeah.
week, go.
Well, I'll let you go first, and I'll tell you mine.
I'm about to say I've got two.
Okay.
So Bill Belichick's my first DA. No. But Bill Bel, I have three. I do have three. My first one is Bill Belichick. My first one is Bill Belichick. Listen, all props in the world for dating a 24-year-old. I've seen a picture of her. She is incredibly gorgeous. But here's the thing: he's 50 years older than she is. Okay, listen, man. There's no love there. Okay, look. I am not what. Listen, there are people like there are some things that I should not know. Okay, I'm just gonna put it to you this way: there are things I should not know, but we know about them because they're publicized so much. There was an old gentleman by the name of Hugh Hefner. And even Hugh Hefner, I don't think he even dated someone in their 20s unless he was probably, well, no, he probably did too. I don't know. But I'm just saying, Bill Belichick, you are now the daily modern Hugh Hefner. Congratulations. You're my first TA of the week.
And her ex boyfriend's also was 64 years old. So let's put it that
What
perspective.
in the world is wrong with this girl?
Well, I mean, she's after the money. It's all
Oh,
about the money.
Lord. Anyways.
I already mentioned kind of my first day of the week. We kind of mentioned him. That goes to Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Apparently, he thinks steals is about deflecting the ball and tapping it. If you're not, if I'm not mistaken, Ricky, aren't you supposed to gain control of the ball in order to get credit for the steal as a scorer?
Yeah.
Well, not according to Scottie Pippen. He said, well, I would deflect the ball and I would tap it to Jordan, and they inflated his stats. Rick, listen, Scotty, we know you like Ricky said, you had a chance to be number one. When Jordan was playing baseball, you had a chance to be number one. You couldn't do it.
And even after Jordan's baseball days, he still couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Even when
he
Jordan
went to
retired the second
Portland.
time, he went
He
to
went to
Portland,
Portland.
and he still couldn't do it.
He
The
went to
Lakers beat him
Houston.
in 7.
Yeah, went to Houston. Couldn't do it. Just could not be number one.
He was
And,
past his prime in Houston.
well, of course, but still, whatever. But anyway, my point is, Scotty, you're from UCA, University of Central Arkansas alum, and you're from Arkansas, but you made
Hamburg.
yourself, yeah, Hamburg, but you made yourself look like a fool in this statement. So my
Yeah.
first day of the week goes Scotty Pippen because apparently he doesn't know how to score a difference between a steal and a whatever. My first day of the week goes Scotty Pippen.
So my second day of the week goes to the people of the great state of Nebraska. Apparently, they had some tornadoes go through there the other day, and they went
Yeah,
on. A lot of them went on viral. Listen, Brad, I understand that there are states in which tornadoes are just they're just the norm. It's like snow. It's just the norm in some areas. But I'm gonna tell you something, Brad.
mm-hmm.
If I see a tornado, if I am less than 100 yards away from that tornado, I'm running. Okay, I'm going somewhere where I can take cover.
Yeah.
These people, Brad, I saw the video clip. These people, this tornado was on the interstate. It had pulled off the interstate like it was taking an exit so it could go smash some other things. And these people were pulling over on the interstate, getting their cameras out and watching the dadgum thing. Why are you doing that? It's a tornado, people. It's a tornado. Get in your car, get in a ditch, Go somewhere else. Stay away from it. What are you doing? This isn't the movie Twister. Okay, this is not the movie Twister. Great movie, by the way. Can't
Yeah.
wait for the sequel. And so, but anyway, so yes, the people of the great state. No, well, I want to say the great state of Nebraska because there's nothing great about Nebraska. You're my second DA of the week.
My second DA of the week goes to the Arizona reporter female who threw a baseball and hit a little kid in the face while the dad was holding him. This lady, this lady here just nonchalantly has the dad's hold the kid with both hands, and this kid's probably barely 2 or 3 years old. She decides that, oh, I'm going to throw this baseball. Hits the kid right in the face and hurts him. Of course, the little kid starts crying, and she's like shocked that the kid doesn't catch the baseball. He's two. You know, not a lot of kids are going.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah, that's one way. But this is absolutely ridiculous. Now, this is poor. And of course, yeah. Anyway, my second deal goes to this Scottsdale reporter for having the lack of awareness of who she's throwing the ball to. I mean, my goodness. I mean, be more careful, especially when you're holding little kids. Also, too, speaking of tornadoes, we also want to give a shout out to Rogers, Arkansas. You know, a few weeks back, they were hit with a devastating F3 tornado. Still doing a lot of cleanup. Matter of fact, I do have our worship leader, his daughter's house was badly damaged in that tornado. So prayers for them as well.
Bet you they weren't outside looking and taking pictures of the cameras. A bunch of DAs in Nebraska. Swear to my soul. I don't understand it. I don't think I'll ever understand it. My final DA of the week. Brad, if I hear Hawk Tuah one more time, somebody's going to get slapped. I swear to my soul. Brad, I did not know what this thing was until this morning when I woke up. This morning I woke up. I was up at 3 a.m. this morning, so I was just toggling on my phone. All of a sudden, I start hearing about this Hawk Tuah crap all over the place, which we know what she was talking about. We know exactly what she was talking about. We know exactly what she was deferring to, and we have morons celebrating it. Not only do we have morons celebrating, she has merchandise for it now. She's going to make more money now.
Yep.
All because her little DA self went on TikTok. I don't even know what it was. All I know is that she went on there. It was a sexually explicit thing that she did, and all of a sudden, we're joking about Hawk Tuah. Liv Morgan even did it last night for the WWE for the WWE's Women's Show. I'm just going to give this a hug. I hear it one more time. I'm going to slap somebody. I'm going to slap somebody. Why are we celebrating this? This is stupid.
You know what?
This is dumber than the stupid kids who decide they want to try Tide Pods. This is how dumb it is. The DA Hall of Fame, stop it, DA Hall of Fame of the century, whatever the case you may be. That chick, whatever her name is, I know she's from Tennessee. So, Pate, this is all your fault.
Well, yeah. You know who did the original Hawk Tuah though?
No.
The Iron Sheik, classic wrestling.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he used to spit at the American. He used to be. His character was from Iran, so he hated America. USA, Hawk Tuah. He used to do that all the time. Shout out to my honorary DA of the week goes to Manny Gonzalez. He was the home plate umpire for the Chicago versus Houston game. He missed the season high 27 calls behind the plate. Shout out to him for my honorary DA of the week. My last DA of the week goes to the golfers of the village. And here's why I'm shouting out to the golfers of the village. You do not need to take out parking space at the Hispanic restaurant. I mean, I am tired of people using the darn golf carts for parking, using their golf carts for parking space and parking in parking spaces in the village. They fit four. You can fit 4 golf carts. You know this? You can fit 4 golf carts in a parking space. I didn't need to know that, Ricky. I don't care. You do not need to have golf carts. Drive in your freaking golf cart to a Mexican restaurant. If you're going to drive your vehicle, get off the golf cart. That's my last DA of the week.
Yeah, that's the thing though. So if anybody wants to see what stupid money looks like, just go to Brad's area, neck of the woods of Hot Springs Village, and they drive golf carts on public roads.
Yep,
And cops will pass right by them, just waving, "Hi, how you doing?" Because that's what you call stupid money.
absolutely. And it just gets on my freaking nerves. Also, too, another day of the week goes also to the Metro Detroit man who was driving while on a suspended license, had a Zoom call with the judge, and of course, the judge revoked his probation. He- and so, and I want to remind everybody, he was driving, and while he had a suspended license, and the court hearing was about his suspended license. And so, if you're gonna appear in court in a Zoom meeting, you might want to make sure you're at least parked.
I
You know,
remember that you showed that you showed
I mean,
that too. That's
you
funny.
should at least be parked. Come on, man. You want to talk about stupid criminals? It
Uh,
goes to this man in Detroit for having the audacity to drive while on a suspended license for a hearing about his suspended license.
please turn the camera off. There's a way
Yes,
to turn the camera off on Zoom, people. You don't always have to have it on. I swear to
or at
my.
least be parked. Park somewhere. Park in the woods. Park somewhere.
Anyways, it has also been reported, Brad Roman Reigns' dad, Sika, Noah, he has passed away today at the age of 79.
Oh no. Yeah, I
So,
hear that.
yeah, Sika passed away at the age of 79. We'll get to wrestling on the next time. What to do wrestling on the next one. And
I
so
y- yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because there's a lot going on with Money in the Bank, and there's going to be a lot going on with SummerSlam coming up.
yeah, July 6th, I believe, is Money in the Bank. And then SummerSlam. So yeah, we'll have to do a show between then. That's for sure. We'll do a show between most likely between Money in the Bank and then SummerSlam. I think the rumor has it that Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes are going to go at it at SummerSlam, which I don't
I
know.
guess
I don't know if they're going to turn Randy heel or if it's just going to be mentor versus student, type deal. But we'll see. I that's the thing with Randy though. It's like I understand that Randy still wants to wrestle. I just don't know how much longer he's going to do it. I wouldn't
yeah.
want him to turn heel at this close to the end of his career.
Well, Randy Orton will turn quote heel, but he'll be more heelish. They'll try to make him a heel, but I mean,
And
he's so
he's so well
he's so
loved.
over. Yeah, he's so well loved. He's so over with the fans. It's going to be hard to turn him heel. But I could see a match with Randy. I could see where Randy Orton faces Cody Rhodes, and it's kind of the passing of the torch to Cody Rhodes, that
Could
sort of
be,
thing.
could be, but I don't. But he really hadn't had the torch for a while. Anyways, that's okay. That's another conversation. That's another conversation for another day. And as you like to say, Brad, as long as the human race still alive, it's still alive.
There will always be DAs.
That's my favorite quote. That is my favorite quote. I'm telling you, man. You need to put a patent on that. You need to
I
put a
did.
patent on that.
Yeah, I should trademark that comment. I would love to do
Trademark
that.
it. I don't want to say
Put a
put a
patent
patent
on.
on it. You need to do something with it. I tell you what.
Yes.
That's a great quote. That's a great quote. All right, guys. All right, I'm done. This has been fun.
Well,
And
Ricky, one more thing we didn't shout out. Shout out to the Tennessee Volunteers and the Fighting Pates for their College World Series
Fighting
win.
Pates. I like that.
Yeah, and the problem is, and this may be another discussion for another day. Once again, another team gets a national championship before the Arkansas baseball team.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but me and you have both predicted
Yep.
we're not going to win one or Dave Van Horn. It's
Nope.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate too because Dave Van Horn's such a great coach.
Yep.
So, all right, I'm signing off. You guys, y'all have a good week, good weekend. Brad and I will be back sometime in July, and then we'll be back regular the first week of August. Y'all have a good day.
So, bye bye.